44% of LGBTQ plus Americans list having enough money to retire as their top financial concern.
And 46% of us say that saving for retirement is a top financial priority.
Yet, among retired queer people, only half say that they're living comfortably.
And that's why you're listening to Queer Money episode 539. This is the first episode in our new How Gays Retire Fabulously bonus series.
Now, on with the show.
The mission of Queer Money is to financially empower the LGBTQ plus community. Join us in thanking Capital One for supporting that mission.
So the first two data points that we shared about the top financial concern and the top financial priority came from the 2022 and 2023 Debt for Guys LGBTQ plus money studies. The other data point about the half of retired folks who are queer and barely getting by comfortably came from a 2023 study done by the National Council of Aging using the Federal Reserve Board's annual survey of households, economics, and decision making. That's a lot of words for the acronym that they call SHED, SHED.
It's startling, and I think it's also a realization as to how we're feeling as a community when it comes to our finances when you see data points like that.
Yeah, and this is why we're kicking off this series, because David and I we are familiar with this data. We see the data. We travel around the country and we talk with folks about their situation, and their comments and concerns are kind of reinforcing the data that we're finding in these myriad studies that we find. However, the community as a whole is not talking about it. So this is why we're doing this series.
And the reality is we want more queer people to have a fabulous retirement. We want all of us to feel like we have the ability to choose where we want to live, who we want to live with, and what kind of environment we're going to live in when it gets to retirement, rather than all of that being decided by our financial situation or other people. And unfortunately, that's why data points are really not only inspiring, but also enlightening for us. For example, the LGBTQ Aging Center says that 50% of single LGBTQ older Americans believe that they're going to have to work beyond typical retirement age. That's compared to 27% of non-LGBTQ older Americans. So as single LGBTQ folks, we are almost twice as likely to have to work in retirement than our straight counterparts. And the thing is that that's not a whole lot different when it comes to same-sex partners, because older same-sex partner couples have about 38% less income in retirement than our straight counterparts. So we're not only feeling like we're going to have to work, we're also feeling at a financial disadvantage.
Capital One Auto Navigator does more than just auto financing. We're here to help you find a car you love, too. Shop millions of cars from thousands of dealers nationwide. Research your favorite makes and models. Explore dealers near you and more. All on Auto Navigator.
Yeah, so this reinforces, some of you are familiar with this. We've shared this several times before, but the most reoccurring question we get from folks is typically gay men between the ages of 50 and 60. Sorry, everybody else, but it's typically the gay men who reach out to us. And they often say that they've done nothing to save for retirement. What can they do now? Is it too late? They wanted to retire yesterday. They want to retire tomorrow. They've got nothing saved. What are my options? And the fact of the matter is that there are options at that age, despite how late it might feel like in the planning process. However, it's just harder. And so the sooner that we can start to have this conversation as a community, the more quickly we can get LGBTQ plus younger folks to start talking about retirement, investing, saving, building wealth, all these different discussions that the whole Queer Money podcast talks about, but specifically retirement, the easier it is going to be for LGBTQ plus folks to retire comfortably, because we all, dream of having our ideal retirement, whether that's relaxing along the beach, reading a book, or it's traveling the world or doing whatever. But none of that is really possible if we're only going to be able to rely on Social Security, because as we all know, Social Security is really not going to be able to cover all of our daily living expenses, even if we are on a shoestring budget.
Exactly. And I think it's really important. We all have good intentions, right? We all have good intentions. We all want to have that fabulous retirement. We all picture this perfect retirement that we have, and our good intentions are to save, and then we let things get in the way. The whole idea of prioritizing, one of the statistics at the outset was making it a financial priority, but we all know what happens with priorities, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes we don't actually do them in the order that we say are the most important to us. So I think that's part of the reason why we want to encourage more of you to become the examples for the baby gays to get their act together and start saving for money long before the rest of us did it.
Right. So that's why we're kicking off this weekly bonus series to help more LGBTQ plus people achieve retirement security, to help you reach retirement security. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One, NA, member FDIC. But we don't want this to be a one-way conversation. This isn't just going to be, hopefully, just David and me talking to you. Hopefully, this is a dialogue. We would love to hear from you. So wherever you're catching this this episode, comment in that particular section, or you can direct message us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever else we're on. I don't know what else we're on. Or possibly, if you want to email us directly, email info@queermoneypodcast.com. But what we'd love for you to tell us after you watch this video, and however you want to reach out to us is entirely up to you, is how are you feeling about your current or future retirement? If you're in retirement, how's that working out for you? If you're not yet retired, you're working towards that. Let us know how you feel about how comfortable that retirement is going to be. We would love to hear from you so that we can start to adapt this material so that it customizes specifically what you're looking for.
Thank you for joining us for another episode. Come back next Thursday when we continue to help you retire fabulously.